It said it's streaming live.
We are good. All right, now I just got to be able to see you. Nice. There we are. Okay. So there is a delay. Good. A delay on Facebook. All right, my friend. Here we are. It only took 4 tries, and we've only been trying since 10:40, but we're on. So, Pops, I am
Yes.
going to watch on Facebook if people have questions. Sound
Great.
good? We are on the Dave and Dave Show, episode 65.
You haven't been on one with me for a while.
I know. What's the 65? We're going to call this the AARP edition.
Yeah, you could call it Welcome to Getting in an Hour Early into the Grocery Store edition.
All right, I'm trying to get a good angle here. All right. All right, we got everyone here. So this is kind of new. I don't get to look right at your face. Or I do get to look at it.
Why did we both wear black shirts like we used to do on the Dave and Dave Show? We wore the same color again, even when we're not together.
It must be great minds.
Got it.
So we've been doing this in a way for like 2 years, right? If you think about it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, talking in front of everybody. All right, so let's jump in. What's going on?
Everything. Nothing.
You want to give an NAR update? All right, let's talk about this. Let's start with this quote. This is the quote I've been sharing everywhere. I meditated on this. In this time of uncertainty, right? In this time of fear, and more so than ever, or more so than anything, this time of being this feeling of out of control. You gotta love this guy. He's already walking away. This time of out of control. The thing that
Getting a cup of coffee.
All right. The thing that I keep coming back to in both health and life and business is that the only thing that we can control is how we react to the things we cannot control. Does that make sense to you?
It does. It does. And it's an easy read and a very hard statement to live by.
It is, because, you know, everyone wants to know, like, everyone's ready for the quarantine to be lifted, and they're ready for to get back to business the way it was, and they're ready for just to get some semblance of good news. And that's just a hard thing to ask for. So you start saying, well, I can only control my actions on a daily basis and my thoughts, and ultimately how I react to it, because 99.9% of the things that happen in life, we can't control. We have this false illusion of control, but we don't have control. So it's kind of a submission and a surrendering to, I am going to control myself, and in that, any hand I'm dealt, I'm going to play it to my best ability. Is that fair?
That is fair.
So these conversations, so let's talk about a couple of different levels. One, I know you've been on 100 Zoom calls for NAR, and we've been on Zoom calls for Urban Nest, and we've been on Zoom calls with other companies and phone calls. Let's go through each one. Let's talk about real estate first.
Mm-hmm.
What is NAR doing? I know they've done some things that have helped out with the stimulus plan. Give us a little update. First of all, tell them what you are, if they forgot.
I am the regional vice president of Region 11 which covers Colorado, Arizona, Wyoming, New Mexico, Utah, and us. So because I'm the regional vice president, I'm considered to be on the board of directors of NAR. So I get everything firsthand. First things first, do not erase your emails from NAR. You know, you get an update now, read them,
Unsubscribe.
because they
Don't
for the
unsubscribe.
they are doing so much. They're explaining how to get on unemployment. For realtors out there that don't know it, we're getting unemployment because of NAR rallying the troops to the government to say we deserve it. So read your NAR updates. They have canceled everything to July 1st. Now, if by chance we're out in June, that's a different story. My belief is April and May will be in the house. The reason I believe it is because we have to have a peak, and then we have to have a time that these cases are going down. So we're saying 30 days. Today's April Fool's Day. My sister got married on this day many, many years ago. But here's what I'm saying to you. Stop and think about what's going on, and be safe. Social distancing will stop this to 6 feet. And that's what they're saying for NAR, 6 feet. As I take a walk every day in Red Rock, and I'm trying to do 10,000 steps so I don't gain 10,000 pounds from being home eating everything in sight.
So let's go back. A couple of questions.
Go ahead.
To be clear, NAR through lobbyists. Oh, one other thing. I'm gonna take some time. Ask questions to people who are watching. We're already up to 43 people. Ask questions about anything, about real estate, about Urban Nest, about GLVAR, Las Vegas Realtors, about the state, about any questions we will answer as you go. Regarding anything, best practices in real estate. We're going to go through a lot of this, but I'd love for this to be interactive. I'm watching the questions. But what you're saying is NAR took their lobbying power and made sure that there was a carve out, not only for the Uber drivers and the Postmates drivers and people who are in the gig economy. They also said realtors or independent contractors, they can't file for unemployment.
But you can.
But now you can.
Mm-hmm.
So we already got a question from Freeba. So how do you apply for unemployment? Super simple. You got to go online or you got to make a phone call. From what I understand, it's backed up. The best thing to do is to get on the phone or get on the internet and go. We've already had one agent get through, but no, she left a message and they're waiting to get back. It's going to be something that you're going to have to continue. It's going to, I hate to use this analogy, but it's going to be like trying to get tickets to a concert that you really want to get. You're going to have to be on the phone and online as much as possible.
And to answer the question, yes, there's no box that says independent contractor because there was never an independent contractor that was allowed. So fill it out to your best ability. It says employer. You could put Urban Nest. We're not your employer, but somewhere in there, you may be able to say 1099, a realtor. Just fill it out to your best ability. They will call us to verify that, yes, you are a realtor at Urban Nest, and they'll probably ask us your income for the last 12 months. Danny?
We're already getting good questions. So if you apply for unemployment and get it, and then do a deal or two over the next few months, will that mess with it or cause issues down the road?
Yes.
I assume it
Yes.
would.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're going to ask you, yeah, just like if you're on unemployment and you got a job for 2 weeks and you work temporary, it stops, then it goes back, but it doesn't stop the process all over again. You may not get a check a certain amount of weeks that you're getting this transaction closing. But they also have to find out you did it, which is going to be near to impossible.
I was talking to our CPA, Brian, and he was like, there's so many unknowns around it. Like, what if you have a listing? What do you have in escrow? How are you going to prove that you're not working or you're working? Here's the thing, like, I'm still uncertain if, people who have regular jobs that got laid off, they're going to get their 460 a week plus the 600. Again, we're uncertain if realtors are going to get both. I think realtors are only going to get the 600. So I'm not sure, but you're making a bet, right? So if you're a realtor and you think you're going to do some transactions in the next couple of months, I would not be playing that game. It's kind of like, how people like game the system, Pops? We try to get paid off the books.
It's called double dipping.
Yeah, exactly. So be smart with that. Kevin from at WFG asked about the SBA loans. I don't think the SBA loans are going to cover most agents. It does say that if you're an independent contractor, you may have a route, but you're going to have to show that you have payroll. And the whole way you get that PPP loan is if you could prove you have payroll, and then that the payroll has to be, it's capped at 100,000. Again, I'm not a CPA. We don't play one. Your best bet is going to your CPA,
And your bank. And your bank.
And your bank, of course, which Nikki emailed me today. So we're going to take care of that. All right. So NAR, I usually don't read the emails, but their emails have had a ton of great information. Make sure you're looking in your spam and to get that. All right, let's jump into real estate. Some of the things we've been talking about in our private page on Nest Connect, right? First, a lot of my friends and my colleagues outside of the real estate industry are very surprised to hear that people are buying and selling, and that just in the last week of March, what we closed, like 50, 60 transactions, just in the last week of March. There's a reason why there's a difference between essential and non-essential. And people are in the midst of transactions moving from one place to another, and it's essential that they move. We have some people with listings that are in the military that are moving to Japan, people who already moved, friends of ours who moved to another state to start another job in the midst of this whole thing, and they have to sell their house. So what's your take on that? You've talked to Aaron Ford, and you've been in those conversations, right? What's going on with essential, non-essential with the real estate?
So thank God, because I've also, being the RVP, spoke to brokers in San Francisco and in LA and in New York that are now considered non-essential and they can't work. So fortunately for us, our governor has made us an essential service. Our company in the last 17 days put probably 100 sales and listings sold in escrow. Business is great. What happened with Aaron Ford and the rest of them is they are consulting realtors. Here's what you need to understand. The governor, the attorney general are consulting realtors to find out what we say. Now, they're giving free rent for 90 days, but is it free rent? No, it's deferred. 90 days, you get it on the back. In turn, as realtors, we said, well, what about the people, the mom and pop that own the house? So if you call your bank, you must call your bank. They will give you a 90-day deferment on your loan. And if you owe 25 years, it's going to be 25 years and 3 months. So it isn't free, it's more deferment. And what they're doing is trying to help the state to get through 90 days of coronavirus and then start everything over again. So state level, that's what's going on with the rental and the mortgage situation. The important thing is for people with the mortgages, if you're not paying your mortgage, you must call, get a name of the banker you're speaking with to get it deferred. If you don't do that, they're going to mark you late and they're going to ruin your credit. We also discussed and got that your credit will not take a bing on these 90 days, because as realtors, we didn't want anyone's credit ruined. And then what happens is come 90 days later, they want to buy more and their credit is ruined. So that was really important. So we have had great conversation with our state government, and they're listening to the realtors because we're 25% of the economy of what we do. So we are an important voice to get done. So that's on the state. Then I could go to division, I could go everything else.
Let's talk, we have people from outside of Urban Nest on here as well. Here's my opinion though on these deferments. You got to be careful. If you could still pay your bills, I would pay them. I mean, you're going to have to pay these deferments, from what I understand, in a lump sum to a degree. Am I right about this, or?
They added on, but the point you're making about pay what you can if you have the money in the bank, if you're not starving, it's a valid point, Dave, because you're not getting it for free. You're going to owe it in the end. Now, if you have no cash in the bank,
Then
this is a godsend.
Without a
that
doubt.
you have a 90-day pause.
Agree.
But even the utilities, no one's going to go after anyone during this time because of that. So it's a great thing we're going to need. And if you don't have the money, take advantage.
Yeah. So at Urban Nest, for instance, we're paying all our bills, paying all of our staff, keeping all of our staff. We're in good shape. I mean, what my father and I did first, luckily, we're in the position of, we're conservative with our money. We took all of our income, completely got rid of that. But so we don't even have to blink. If we stop making money today, we're good for 3 months out. But that's important. So I already had the conversation. This is what I would tell if you're just a normal homeowner, or if you're a renter, or if you're a business owner. You need to call your landlord and have the conversation with them. Once this occurred, I got on the phone with all 4 of our landlords and said, listen, we're good. We're going to pay you. But come August, September, and October, I don't know what it looks like out there. So I already started the conversation. If you're not going to pay, or you're going to do partial payments, or you can move the date, maybe you move the date on which you owe the money. That is the conversation. The important thing here is you're going to have communication more so than ever.
And something else, Dave, for everyone out there, they shouldn't call. They should email the bank, email, get it in writing, so that if they say, we know people lie, it's an unfortunate, oh, we never did it. An email will prove that you said, I'm not paying my rent, I'm going with it. So have written text, email, backup copy of your statement in case they do something. You have that to further prove what you did.
I wrote down this quote: silence erodes trust and communication. So you have to start talking, right? You got to get in front of them. You can have the conversation and then memorialize it in an email. Fair?
Right? You got
All
it.
right. So let's talk about best practices for realtors in this marketplace. Because I don't want, we have a lot of non-realtors watching. And, what we're telling our agents is, listen, this is, first of all, personal choice. You're an independent contractor. The government has deemed you essential, but you have to take smart precautions. At Urban Nest, and if any of other brokers are watching, I don't care if you're yawning.
I'm yawning.
Yawning already?
Yeah.
I don't care if you steal this idea, but we have a hold harmless for all the parties, especially with listings. Everyone's going to have their own opinion on how to handle this. And if you have a seller that wants to sell, but they want to understand how a photographer is going to come into their house, how showings are going to be done, how an appraiser is going to do it, everything is changing. So there's a hold harmless that just states the obvious of, listen, there's no guarantees one way or another if something's going to happen because of this. You agree with that?
I totally agree. I think that in our stage where we're being very careful of getting close, of letting people in the house, everyone has to agree there's risk. And if there's risk, you don't want to be sued for someone getting sick, even though it may not have been that occurrence. The hold harmless is the smartest thing to do.
I agree. We have a form that we put together, and it basically shows that, and most companies are putting it together. You know, if you're a listing agent, you could have a virtual seller consultation. The beauty of real estate is it was already one of the things that you can do a lot of it without face-to-face contact. So you can have comps and signatures and everything done electronically and through a Zoom call or a FaceTime call. Normally we don't like this, but if you don't feel comfortable with a photographer in there, you could take your own photos and then share them with the agent. We could upload them to the MLS. You could do marketing is virtual. We could do Matterport, which is a 3D walk through your home. Offers obviously are virtual. And now with buyers, you may want to walk through the house, and then you got to come up with what you feel comfortable with. If a seller wants to be in the house during the showing or outside of the house, buyers, you don't want to touch anything. Sellers will open doors, sellers will open cabinets and make sure that there is a smart way to do it. This is people need a place to live and they need to make moves, and people's lives still go on. And during this time, and to say that you can't buy and sell would be a tough thing. Now, on the flip side, what are we against? We're on the same page on this. No open houses.
And Dave, there were 3 open houses in Red Rock Country Club this weekend. And I looked at them saying, wow, no one went in. So I think that open houses are going to die their own death, even though the agent thinks they're going to do it.
No open houses.
No open houses.
No open.
Our office is open and agents are coming in just when they have to. Then they're doing all their work from home. But our checks go out the day after, through email. So our agents are getting paid. The staff is in there working. But of course, the only time the agents are coming in is if they have to meet a client or they have to print something they didn't do at home. Other than that, it's be safe, stand far.
Or if they have their own office, that's just
Right.
social distancing, right?
Yep, they are self-distancing.
We already have, there can only be one person on the computers at a time. And, we have all that set up, but no coffee, no water, obviously. Another one, no door knocking. Imagine if someone knocked on your door right now.
I have a glass door, Dave, and I've been getting deliveries from all the supermarkets, and I talk to them through the door. I will not let anyone in my house.
All right, let's see if we have any more, we have any questions as we're up here.
All right, while we're doing that, I'll talk about the division. The division got a coronavirus, 2 cases, so they shut down. Supposedly, if you leave messages or mail, they're looking at it. But we had a transfer that we put in 10 days ago. Nothing has happened. So I'm saying no. But here's the good news. The good news is Monday they reopen and all services on Monday will be up 100%. The next thing, Sharath, who runs the division, asked the question, and you are going to be able to take your live CEs the same way Dave and I are doing this.
It's already happening
in Zoom. So we brought that up. We have a great relationship with the division, and that is happening. So they extended deadlines. They're being so cooperative, but as of the 6th, it'll be in full service again. That's Monday.
Which is important because agents will probably still need to renew their license, obviously, and they're going to be moving companies. I'm not going to put any company on blast because I don't believe it's appropriate, but I know for sure that there's one company already not paying commissions. And if someone needs to go, oh my God, I'm going to put 3 in escrow and I got to go to another company, they got to be able to transfer from one to another as well. But MLS is fully open as well too, right?
Yep. MLS, knock on wood for them, Las Vegas Realtors have had no cases of corona. And you can't go in it as an agent or the public, but the staff is there every day. So that's the division, and that's what's going on. Monday, full service, nicknames and courses. Shortly, you're going to get that nicknames are allowed. Your license number without the zeros, without the letters, just the numbers have to be displayed in a prominent. And Dave and I could be Dave Tina because our licenses say David R and David J. But with nicknames, they are now going to be allowed as long as the license is there, number is there. We're going to 36 hours of CE, and all licensing is going to get a mandatory risk reduction class. And if you're property managers, it's going to have 9 hours of property management.
Wait a minute. It's not 24 anymore, it's 36?
Yes,
When does it start? Like mine's due August.
it wouldn't start for the person. It starts at a given date, which may be August 1st, but it's way out there, like 3 or 4 months.
Wait a minute, wait. Let me get this straight. It's 30, they added 12
Yep,
for all agents, and they
Yeah.
took away 12 for people who've been in the business 30 years.
yep,
And over 55.
yep.
You know who you are, who did this.
Well, I am not in that category, so I'm taking 36, and I must take a risk reduction as required. The people with property managers licenses, to keep them, usually it was 3, Dave, when you had yours. Now it's 9. So there's 9 of those 36 must be property management. 3 must be risk reduction. Then you have your 4 normal categories. So that's another 12. So we're up to 24, and 12 could be general. The great news is till this is over, you could do it all on Zoom. Or you could still do 12, through Key or whoever you use, not live. Okay, so that's the rules. That's what's going on.
So you're a past president of state, past president of local. You've been in real estate 40 years, 20,
Yes.
40 something years, 20 in Long Island, 2 here. Do you think you should take less courses than us?
No,
Thank you. That's all I needed to hear.
no.
All
It was
right.
not my idea. I'm willing to take the most education possible, and that's why we raised the bar. We raised the bar so the agents that aren't paying attention get more education, and then we lowered the bar for age. So my answer to you is no, I don't believe in that.
I must have missed something. We got a question. Do you anticipate real estate showings changing at all now that Sisolak issued a stay-at-home an hour ago? I don't see how this is much different than what he said before. Either do I. I mean, let's talk about the market. We haven't gotten to this yet. The market has taken an interesting turn. Like, it hasn't been like the stock market. Can we agree on that? Where the stock market just completely was all emotion. The real estate market is actually holding tight. We still have the same issues that we had prior to coronavirus. And that was too many people, not enough houses, driving the prices up. We had an affordability issue, which I still believe is an issue. And now we potentially have some lending issues, which I think the government will probably take care of. What do you see? Where do you see the market, Pop?
I see the market as dropping anywhere from 25 to 50% during this time.
25 to 50.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Well, we already had 25.
You mean, you got to clarify. The
Oh,
amount,
sales, and not price. No.
the
The market, no,
let's
I'm talking
clarify.
about sales while we're in home.
the quantity of
of
transactions.
Transactions Right, not price, no. Price is, but one of the mistakes everyone is doing is comparing this to '08. And that's a mistake because we're in a temporary hold and it's going to take time to reboot it. I'm not going to say the day we're let out of our house, everything's back to normal because we got to get the people working again. We got to get the restaurants open. It's going to take time.
Plus, who
And
knows what happens in the fall?
right, right. But we will be back. And I think that business wise, if we did 36,000 homes last year we sold listings, it may go to 20. That's all I'm saying, 20,000, right? Because certain people don't want the house shown during this time. Certain people are not listing till this is over. Certain buyers are not getting into the market till this is over. So we're on hold. Now, I didn't read about the governor because I've been doing other things, but I'm going to say my opinion of what he's doing with this, what's going on. I see videos in the supermarket and everyone is 2 inches from each other. I
Agreed.
see in the drugstore people getting drugs and everyone is 3 inches from each other. I see in Home Depot or Costco, they're on a line and they're 6 inches from each other. I think what the governor is trying to say is stay at home and wake up because no one is following the rules. I am walking probably 3 to 4 miles a day. I walk sometimes in the middle of the street because people, I want to stay my 6 feet away. If we were respecting that 6 feet, I don't think the governor's cry for us to do this and stay at home would even be there. But what he's seeing is that no one's respecting it. And as long as you don't respect it, it's going to keep carrying from person to person, i.e. the golf course is open behind me, but now everyone's in a different cart. When they go to tee off, they stay 6 to 8 feet. When they're putting, you could see they're 6 to 8 feet. They're respecting the distancing to allow them to stay open. We are not doing that in super. Guess what? Don't go for spring flowers because you're bored to 3 nurseries or home. That's what people are doing now. So I think what Sisolak is trying to tell you, before we get the numbers as big as these other states, stay home. Stay home. Whoever you're stuck with at home, stay home. That's what I think he's
You make
trying
a
to say.
great point. You know, the irony, like these essential services, like you have to, it's like this new, you're weighing one option versus the other, right? So people are like, I'm going to cook at home because I can't go out to a restaurant. Yet they go to the grocery store, like you say, and who knows what's going on there. And then they're exposing themselves, but they think they're doing the right thing because they're staying out of the restaurants. And then you say, wow, maybe I don't feel comfortable ordering online. But then you're like, it's probably safer to order food online, or right, than get into a grocery store with 100 people or going to Costco. So same thing with real estate. You know, it's probably, I gotta, if Dave the attorney was watching me, probably say, shut up, Dave. But you have to weigh, like, meeting a client at a house, you opening the door, them walking through a vacant house, or them walking through someone's house, not touching them, the sellers being out. I mean, what is more dangerous? I mean, I don't know, but I really would rather be in that personally. I'd rather be looking at a house than walking into Smith's. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, we're going to have to get used to this social distancing one way or another, because if they lifted it, if miraculously everything was perfect right now, things are going to change. So people have to get used to what's going on. All right, let's get some questions. You guys think there will be a significant proportion of realtors who will not be renewing their license amid this downturn? If so, any estimates, and do you think it's necessarily a bad thing? Now, there's a good question. Good question, Ben.
There are a lot of agents on MLS that do 0 to 2 deals and they just want to be involved. If the cash is strapping them to stay involved, yes, they will get out. but don't get excited because on every upturn, or they may get out and then reinstate themselves is 6 months to a year. The only thing I will say to you is that Las Vegas realtors made the reinstatement fee uber expensive. So if you're thinking of getting out,
Wait. I was in that room, and in all fairness, people were gaming the system.
that's what I'm saying. That's what
They
I'm
were
talking
getting
about.
out and trying to reinstate and not pay. They were playing a game.
Right.
So that's the only reason why they would.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. So if you're looking now to play the system and get out 3 months, the reinstatement will cost you double of what you would have did if you would have stayed in.
I think they're talking about changing some stuff, but I'll ask Ben, I'll answer your question straight on. I do think if the longer this goes, I do think more and more people will say the juice isn't worth the squeeze, right? If real estate isn't your primary source of income, if you're a part-time realtor that does a deal or two a year, like my dad said, I think you will see a downturn. Now, as far as if this is a good thing or not, my beef has never been with the amount of agents that are that exist. My beef is with the quality and the professionalism of them. And it doesn't necessarily mean if you're a part-time agent. I always say you could be a part-time agent, but you need to be a full-time realtor. And there are some part-time agents that do a better job, are more professional, better educated, and understand the business more than people who are 20-year veterans that don't take it seriously. So yes, would it help the people who survive? Absolutely. And that's one of the conversations that my father and I have been having with Urban Nest over and over and over again. And that is, we're here. The finish line may be here. The goal is to survive this one. If you can make it to here, you thrive. And that's unfortunately a thinning of the herd. But that's why I'm encouraging our agents, and I encourage all of you, pay your MLS dues, pay whatever it is to stay with your brokerage, because you need to invest more than ever and stay in business more than ever now. Quitting and shrinking is not the answer.
Not the answer. And unlike other brokers in the past, we're not going to screw our agents out of their commissions by doing BK. We're not going to short sale all our rental properties and then that's not what the brokerage is about. And your broker needs to pay you immediately because we're in hard times. And a day after that money comes in, your check should be in your hand. Everybody needs their cash today in a situation like that.
So we have some clarification from Jennifer Hill. Today's directive was just to extend the time to the end of April, like the president did. So the governor just aligned with the president. Sean Cunningham, good buddy of mine. You back from Peru, buddy? We have about the same number of homes listed today as we did on January 1st. It's about right?
Yeah.
And it's such a different scenario right now than 09, 10. I don't think inventory will spike enough to drive prices down anywhere close to that much. The people who own homes are completely different than back then. They have equity. Great point. It's a great point. They do have equity, Sean. I do think you're going to see a little bit of a hit as far as if I'm listing my house right now, I'm not messing around with the top of the market comps. How about you, Pops? I'm making it, I can only deal with the certainty of today. And even that's uncertain. So I don't know what the end of April is going to look like or what the middle of May is going to look like. If I have to sell, I'm making it attractive today. What do you think, Pop?
I'm thinking about Sean's happy smiling face because you know how much we love him.
We love him.
In 2 weeks, the inventory has increased 25%. 2 weeks because I do the
fallouts.
Yes, fallouts. The contingent pending has decreased 25%. From his lips to God that comes true. The inventory is going to continue to increase and the contingent pending or houses in escrow, for those who are not in real estate, will continue to decrease. But the great news is, like I said, in 17 days, I'm only going to go with our company, of us being in our houses, 100 homes in our company was sold. So it is not a death knell. Don't say, oh, life sucks. It's great. We're working. Our agents are selling. But at the same time, be rational and reasonable. And like Dave said, don't pick the high comp, pick the reasonable comp to get your house sold.
Yeah, I mean, and how many new escrows, which is unbelievable. How many new escrows have we got? I mean, we got 150 still in escrow, right?
Well, I said in the last 16 days, about 80 to 100, but yeah, we have 250 escrows for our company. But the point I'm saying is life goes on. People have to buy and sell. There's precautionary ways to do it. One of the challenges we're finding it.
Let me ask you a question. Like the stock market, I was waiting for it to go under 18,000. I'm not a really big stock market guy. I don't know it inside and out. Real estate obviously is where my expertise is. But even with the stock market, there's a number where you're like, I'm jumping in. There's got to be a number where if we lose 5% off the top or 10% off the top, where you're going to see smart money, that Warren Buffett money, I call it, right? Go in the opposite direction of the masses. When people are greedy, be cautious. When people are cautious, be greedy, right? There's got to be a price that it drops. And I don't believe it's a low. I believe it's like under maybe 10%. We see a 10% drop. I see money flowing back in to the real estate market, even at 5%, 7%, if the lending is there. What's your take?
Me?
Yeah.
I saw the investors swoop in, and in my presidency for Las Vegas in 2013, the normal buyer couldn't get a house because all the investors were buying cash, and they couldn't let the normal buyer, the person that wanted to live in it, get a house. Do I think any of that is coming? No. Do I think that if a person has to sell, or they have that, what you're drinking looks good, Dave. I'm getting jealous.
It's a nice
Yeah.
Instacart has it too, baby. It's good. It's sparkling water with a little black cherry.
Very nice. Do I think that the investors are going to come swooping in right now? No, I don't. I don't think they're going to come swooping in. Do I think that there may be better pricing because of this? Yes, I do. So if the people were on the edge, and the smart people are closed, all of you out there that are agents know the interest rates are going 3, 5, 4. The interest rates are flying.
I was on the phone with Darren yesterday, and he has a client that was in escrow at 3 1/8 on a new home. Something happened. They asked him, this was insane. They asked him to write a letter of why he's buying the house. Okay. So he writes a letter and he says, I'm retiring in 12 years and this is a 1-story. So I want to have a 1-story and I'm going to do some work on it. But he's going to move in. They denied his loan because of the letter saying you're not going to move in. And I'm like, this is absurd. But then the agent is like, I think they didn't lock the loan. So I'm expecting Darren to tell me that now it's a 3.75. Do you know he could still get a 3 1/4? He only lost 1/8 of a point. So even buying a new home, it's still 3. He was able to get 3 1/4. Now you're right. It's like this right now, right?
Yeah, you call up, I'm reading 5s and then I read 4s. Then they say the 3s are gone. Then they say the interest that your rate got to go from 620 to 680. That now your credit score has to go from that. So there's a lot, but I also read in the NAR update that NAR is getting involved again with Freddie and Fannie to stabilize these rates and stabilize the market. So there's a lot going on.
The Feds bought a ton of the mortgage-backed securities. They expected it to help the rates stay down. Then there was calls on all the things. And then now they were like, jumbos are going to be an issue because they're not.
Oh, everyone's saying, yeah, jumbos are like out. Yeah, that's all we're hearing.
Those are going to be an issue. All right, let's talk about the difference. I've heard this said multiple times, and we started talking about it. The difference of the '08 recession crash, which I did a Facebook Live on this. How isn't it insane that like '08 was created by totally things that we can control, and now is things that we can't control? And I think the difference is we could not control 9/11. 9/11 happened, and as long as we figure something out, whether it's treatment, whether it's a vaccine, whether it's a test you could take to see if you have antibodies or immunity to make people feel secure going out. If something like that happens, I believe we're looking at more of a 9/11 scenario where it's a pause. And as long as people aren't out of work too long, because if they're out of work too long, it's going to be tough to bounce back. It's that people are talking about the V, goes down quickly and comes up. And some people are talking about the L, it goes down and it just stays, right? Some people are talking about a W, goes down, comes up, then goes back down and then comes up. We can't predict the future, but we're hoping for the V, right?
Okay, so another analogy, and you have to be old to do this analogy. Unfortunately, I am. 1988. The interest rates went to 18%. And it's just what you're talking about, Dave. Those 3 to 4 months, oh my God, everyone was like, I'm not buying a house. It's 18% interest. And I was a fireman at the time. So I said to the other firefighters, buy houses. And they're like, Dave, you're crazy. I said, yeah, I am. Buy houses. So they all bought, and then the interest rate went to 13. Then it went down to 10, and soon it was down to 8.5. This is the analogy of this. It's just that short time. Something happened to change the market. 18% changed the market. As soon as the 18% went away, real estate came bounding right back within a 3 to 4 month period. That's how I analyze what we're going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, a kind of a more mindset conversation around this is, you got to replace that fear with faith. And that's not just in your mental state. That's also in the decisions you make financially. We talk about, we have a 3-month plan for Urban Nest. We have a 6-month plan, and we have a 9-month plan. And these aren't business plans for like what we thought was going to happen. These are plans for what's happening now in the coronavirus. You must have these plans in every area of your life. 3-month plan in my financial health, 6-month plan in my financial health, a 9-month plan. But, I tell people all the time, one of my dreams, I know too, to have a house in California. And I've been searching as a second home. I've been searching in Carlsbad and Encinitas for the last 2 years. And all I've seen is the prices go like this. I mean, they weren't a good deal back then. Now they're like this, right? You laughing at me? I'm right?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm laughing about.
And it's still, there's been tons of price reductions, but what are you laughing about?
I'm laughing at 2 things about California. A, the pictures on the beach, everyone's right next to each other. A wave hits and
they're not on the beach anymore. They're not.
All right, wait, that's A. B, the more I walk through Red Rock Country Club, I'm seeing California plates visiting and not leaving. I've seen cars on the street from California now for 2 weeks. And I know that they ran out of California to Las Vegas, figuring it was a safer place for coronavirus. So that's why I'm laughing right now, I don't think I would want that house in California.
All right. So, but here's the question. You didn't answer my first one. We're not seeing, listen, we saw 1,000 price reductions on the MLS for Vegas. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a lot of price reductions on Redfin and Realtor.com and Zillow,
baby price reductions.
Exactly.
Baby price, just to get it in your eye. Oh, I look on the price reduction sheet, down 2.1%. There were 5 of them down 0.001%. So they're just looking to put it in your eye. There's no give it away now that I'm looking at.
What do you think? Let's say we have to recover from this. Are
Mhm.
people still going to move here if the being in the casinos is different? Because I had a question from Collier the other day. We were talking about this, and I was like, I think we would still see the California seller that says, okay, my job situation in California is very similar to my job situation in Vegas. Let's just say Southern California. I'm going to sell whatever goes down in California is going to go down in Vegas. I'm going to sell my $700,000 house in California. I'm going to go buy a $400,000 house in Vegas, and I'll figure out my job, whether it's, UPS, FedEx, Postmates, or whatever it is. And I'm still going to make that jump and go in that direction. That's what I was saying to him. We're still going to have that. It may be harder for them to find a job because everyone's out of work and they got to get back to work. But we're still going to have the retiree, maybe even more so now, that's like, I'm out of New York, I'm out of Chicago, I'm out of California, and they're getting Social Security, and they could take their big chunk of equity out of these high expensive states. They're still going to be able to move here in any economy. Do you think that gives us a little bit more resiliency moving forward?
So my answer to that is simple. As long as the Trump tax law stays the same, Californians are going to run out of it as fast as they can, because the way it is now, their state tax, the high real estate taxes become a minimal deduction. With not having state tax, that law has not hurt Las Vegas or the state.
So a bunch of people realized you were doing Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, do they?
They got it. They figured it out. I think they were questioning if you even knew what. They got to remember that you're my father, and I listen to Red Hot. Don't make them do Under the Bridge. I also got Linda Evans saying, not Wonder Woman, but Linda Evans saying, bought my first house in '92, and it was 14% interest rate. We had Sean Cunningham. Talk about a ball breaker. When you were talking about 1988 and you first said 2008, you said 1918. He thought you were talking about the Spanish flu pandemic, saying that you were that old, breaking your chops.
He's going to have to kiss my hand twice now for that statement.
Godfather. He said, thank you, Godfather.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm glad we're more diversified this time around than we were. I mean, again, I hate to use the 08 analogy. I agree it's not the same. But we still have, we now are a more diversified economy. Would you agree than we were 12 years ago?
Not where I want us to be. There's too much of our economy that does, but we are better than 12 years ago. And also understand, if the Fertittas in station casinos laid off 5,000 people, the day the world opens again, they're not going to hire 5,000.
Agreed.
They're going to spin up and they're going to hire 3,000 people. Yep. Then a week later, another 1,000 people. And then if all the numbers come right, a week later, another 1,000 people. So it's going to take a while to unwind what we did. But if we open again and the coronavirus is controlled or gone to a level of acceptable standards, we will see the world open. I personally think once it's opened up, people are going to spend money like drunken sailors, because they're going to be out at the movies, at bars, at restaurants, at every social, even the churches. There's no longer church service.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's gonna depend on how bad the next 3 or 4 weeks. The closer it gets to your doorstep, you're gonna have to take a look. I think we're gonna come back. But I think we're going to see movie theaters say the occupancy of this movie theater is 100 people, and we're only going to allow 40 people in.
Right.
Right.
Well, again, like you said, it's about, we know a vaccine is going to take a year, at least, but it's about, is there antibodies that they're saying that they're proving that once you have it, you can't get it again. So there's going to be classifications of people. Unfortunately, I'm in over 50 classifications. All right. Over 60. I got everyone to laugh. Over 60 classifications. And I do have, a form of heart problem. So I understand that I'm going to have to be the most cautious. of all the people because of those existing conditions. So they may say, all right, general public, you're free. But if you're a senior and you do have an underlying condition, maybe you should take another 2 or 3 weeks. Everyone has to respect and understand that that's the situation, right?
Yeah, to go back to it, I think the antibody test is going to be, that's the thing we should be focusing on. I mean, I know a ton of people that believe that they had it. I mean, I coughed for 4 weeks straight. I had a fever for 3 weeks straight. I mean, it could have been allergies or a sinus infection. It looks like Chris Cuomo, he thought he had a sinus infection. You know, you don't know. This thing could be running. I was at a party almost 4 weeks ago on Saturday, where because I'm so neurotic, I was so close to people because there was a DJ. And when you're that close and you're talking and people are talking, it's like spit hitting your face. And I'm like, I got the coronavirus. I knew you don't know. I mean, I was at a
What
party.
you did.
I don't know, but I think that's when, we're just trying to buy time. So I think there would be more of like, it sucks because there's going to probably be some discrimination around this. But if you can say, there is a little bit of herd immunity. I did already have it. I feel a little bit more comfortable. That's how you get kids back to school. Dawson is already saying to us, I don't know if I told you this, Pop, that they're going to open up the school for 4 weeks in the summer to bring the kids back to learn math, science, reading, and I'm missing one, just so that they can not get, left back. I wonder if Clark County School District, because there's going to be a lot of changes in that respect.
We're going to go as we go, That's
Here's
it.
another question, because you know how much I read. There are states that are banning people from coming into their state, even if they own a second home.
Mm-hmm.
So there's I was reading, there's places in Florida, there's places in Colorado, places where it's just seasonal and people have second homes. And the problem with these is everyone says, I'm going to flock there, and all they have is a 20-bed hospital in these small areas, because 9 months out of the year, 10 months out of the year, no one's there, right? And then the population spikes. What's your take? You mentioned Californians coming here. What's your take on that?
I think that they should be quarantined for 14 days so that if they're bringing something, they don't bring it to the general population. And I think that the people are going should understand, let's pick New York because it's, a hotbed, that if they're going to a place that has less cases, but attend to the hospital beds, if they already have it or carrying it, it's a really dumb move.
It's a dumb move for them too. I mean,
right.
You're not outrunning this thing.
Right.
And we just got the RV, Angie and I, and she was, at one point she was like, let's get in the RV and go. And I'm like, you actually, even though cities are going to probably get hit harder, they got a better shot to take care of multiple people. If you're out in the woods, good luck. There's going to be nowhere to hide eventually. So, all right. I think we covered a lot. What do you feel good? We're good? Are
you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm seeing if we have any questions.
Yeah.
Bob said you're staring at 70. That wasn't nice, Bob Souza.
Yeah, he's jealous because he's in there too.
All right. We got the Red Hot Chili Peppers, bought my first house. It looks like we got it. So let's close it with this. What are you doing to stay? Because I talked about these 4, right? Physical health, mental health, relationship health, and financial health. Where are you at? What are you doing to keep your physical health? You talked about it a little bit.
Okay, so fortunately, I live in beautiful Red Rock Country Club. So I've never appreciated getting up and looking at the golf course like I do now, because I'm home, and now with the weather, I'm sitting outside. So I get up, and when I get up, I have my coffee and watch local Channel 5 news, and then I go for my walk. And what I am personally trying to achieve is 10,000 steps a day. Why? I lost some weight recently, and I don't want to gain it back because I'm eating like a madman sitting in the house. So for physical health, walk twice a day, try to get your 10,000 steps in. Not only does it take time, but I could feel my body getting stronger. They're saying if you get coronavirus, the strongest body will survive. So get out there, do some physical stuff, calisthenics. If you have a home gym, do it. That's the best thing.
I ordered a rower,
Yeah.
and
Well,
Angie already has the Peloton.
I'm not coming over to use it. So my answer is do that. Mental health. I was on the phone the other day with my sister Donna for 3 hours.
Was she the April 1st, or was it Diane?
Diane was married April 1st, 1967.
Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah, my sister. So Donna and I were on for 3 hours. Danny, my brother, we were on for an hour and a half. So call the close people. I was telling Dave this morning, I owned a restaurant on Long Island from 86 to 96. And they were like,
what was it called?
Landmark Cafe. And we got on this morning with like 30 people from the Landmark on Facebook, and they started posting pictures and talking about it. So I'm reminiscing with old friends. So mentally, we need human contact. Georgia is doing the happy hour every week. Dave, people in New York and Long Island, New York are telling me they watch the videos you post. So we must touch, we must have human contact, and we're fortunate enough to do what we're doing now. So that's part of my day. Netflix, I'm sorry, you know I'm a junkie. Dave's favorite saying is the movie could be a 1 or a 10, and my father will watch it.
All right, so let's talk about this, right?
Okay.
We got a couple other questions, actually. I have the Mirror Sim, but let's talk about the movie theater. I don't know if Linda Valicka is going to be on here. You know, this is my dad and I spent most of my time growing up with my dad, and our video store was in walking distance. But like, remember video stores? This wasn't Blockbuster. This was like a local video store. And nothing was ever in, right? Unless you like got there. So we would scour the B movie section, and he would watch anything. And I'd be like, what the frick you watching? It's the worst movies. You will watch anything. All right. So someone asked back, let's just jump back to real estate. Someone asked about new homes. I think new homes, I was talking to a new home specialist the other day who was debating about getting into real estate general. And I said, so first of all, it's not an easy transition for new home specialists. They're used to the buffalo being hunted for them. It comes to them rather than going to hunt the buffalo, which is what you have to do in real estate, right? So, but I said, I think selling a new home in this time is a great thing. You have that certainty that you're going through a model home. If they're open, you could do virtual tours to a model home. And it's something I'm all about new homes. If you want to buy one, what's your take on this?
If we go back to the past, new homes are always so much more expensive than resales. So until we're open again, I think if we're doing one sale a day, new homes will do one sale every 3 days. So their charge is going to be harder to sell during this time because people are being more money conscious.
But if the prices come down on new homes, there's an opportunity for you.
There's an opportunity everywhere.
Yeah.
Land, right? Buying land. If some new builders back out of a parcel of land, new builders or builders that are not in Vegas are going to come in. There's opportunity everywhere, but new homes are more expensive. So it's a little harder right now to do that. Unless they start cutting.
You got to look at the pros and cons of everything. You're going to have a period of time where it may take 2-3 months to build them. So we may have that, there's a lot of extensions on, that's something we also didn't talk about. There's a lot of extensions on resales, right? We have the coronavirus addendum, like a 30-day extension or a 45-day extension. New homes are a way to be like, I'm going to get an escrow now and see what happens in the next 90 days. If you're going to get into that, if you're going to get into a new home contract, this is the time to negotiate with the new home and be like,
Right, if it's 4 months forward.
If I
Right.
can't be approved for this house in 4 months, I get my money back or something. Or if
And Dave, to all agents, you bring something up to me. You could say, I'm going to extend this escrow and you're going to give me the earnest. And then the buyer never wants or signs off on the earnest with the title company. If you go in front of a judge and I don't care what the buyer signs, and the judge, you tell the judge, listen, I couldn't go through, or I lost my job, or I lost my loan due to coronavirus. Good luck to anyone out there that thinks they're keeping the earnest money. It's not going to happen in this time.
I agree completely.
So stop fighting for earnest money and look to give extensions because of the irrational things that are happening due to this, where lenders are saying, I got to repackage the loan. You don't qualify because the rate went up today because it's crazy. And give extensions where you normally wouldn't.
And empathy. Empathy needs to play a part. So you need to have rationale and empathy, because there's so much uncertainty. Like you said, I want to have options moving forward, and you got to really understand, like, who's buying this? Is it an essential job? Are they still going to be in business? What's going on? But if you're sitting in your house and you have a place to stay, and the person can't buy your house now because, God forbid, someone passed away or someone's sick, or everyone lost their job, have some empathy. Work with them. And agents, take care of your people. All right, back to the last thing, and we'll call it, because we've been on it a while. I love what you said about reaching out to the people you care about. This is so important. We've been talking about it. The crazy thing about your physical health and your walks that you're doing, Pops, and eating better, that plays so much into your mental health. It's almost like you fill up your physical health bucket and it overflows into your mental health bucket. You fill up your mental health bucket and it overflows into your relationships. You fill up your relationships, it overflows into your business, real relationship-based business. So every day it's about filling those buckets in order. And I think you're doing a great job with that, because there's so many gifts and lessons in this, where I know you talk to Donna and you talk to Danny and you reach out to them. I've been talking to so many people. I was able to talk to my friend Corey. Usually it's like a 5 or 10 minute catch up, and we need to and we have a talk, like, let's get lunch, and we never get to lunch. We were able to spend an hour on the phone the other day. I have great friends that were helping each other navigate through these SBA loans and things like that. I mean, I sometimes feel like I'm busier now.
I know. My phone keeps dying during the course of the day because I'm using it so much.
Exactly. And it's just filling each other's buckets up and helping out. And, that togetherness and common bond and common goal, it's really a beautiful thing at this time. But I will tell you this, don't oversaturate. For you agents out there, for you business people, don't oversaturate. What are you doing? I see what you're doing. You're looking at I see what you're doing.
You know who my best phone call was yesterday?
Oh.
FaceTime with your daughter for 25 minutes.
And the kids, you got to let your kids do FaceTime with other people. Or Zoom calls. Now you made me lose my train of thought.
So sorry.
It's all right.
Uncle Albert.
But that's the entire point, and there's so many little lessons. Like, it took us 2 weeks to figure out that, the kids are going to have the room to do this. And when they're doing homework here, we're going to be outside. And when I'm doing a Zoom call, they're going to be here. Much better. You look 10 years younger. You look fantastic. Although your teeth look very white today. And you gotta laugh. You gotta laugh a little bit. So,
Dave knows I'm going higher and higher to make my chin look thinner and thinner.
Here, you ready? All right. That's all we got for you today, guys. We will talk to you next week at the Dave and Dave episode 60. Let's make sure we got this thing turned off, Pop. Stop talking.
Stay safe.
Keep your shirt on. Bye.
Bye.